Morning, folks. This is your host, NCommander, and today we are looking at Amiga Forever. So, it's been a bit since we've done a live stream, and I apologize, still no face camera, although hopefully for the next stream I will have it back. Just to say I've been really, really busy, and things have been interesting. It's not the time to talk about it on air, but yeah. So, one of the things that for folks that have watched the channel for a long time, I've mentioned that I have an Amiga 4000 video toaster. It's a high flyer model. The base unit works, the flyer card is untested. But I've never used it on stream. I've shown it on Mastodon once or twice, and a lot of it is because I don't know anything about Amiga. Like, I barely know how to use one. So, this isn't going to be an in-depth programming stream. This is me just getting familiar with the platform as a whole, doing some reading on Wikipedia, and basically learning. And I'm using the Amiga the Amiga Forever package. It's a licensed copy of Workbench ROMs, demos, and games. I'll put the link in. I'll pin the link, or I'll put it in the description. I think I forgot to do that earlier. So, let's talk a little bit about the history of Amiga. Right now, we are in what's called Amiga Workbench, which is, generally speaking, considered it is the operating system, similar to how Apple Macs have their system software, Mac OS. But Workbench is interesting because it's more of the Amiga system design is much more closer to Macintosh than it is on other computers. So let me grab Wikipedia, because this is one of those things that probably is good to talk about. All right, let me pull a tab off, and let me bring the window up. All right, so is that on screen? Yeah. So the first Amiga, the Amiga was essentially a replacement for Commodore's 8-bit line of machines. The 1000 was the first one that came out, although the most popular Amiga was the 500. Amiga has kind of a reputation of... It has a very large collector's community, so it tends to be very expensive, and there isn't a whole lot of, like... I'm trying to figure out the right way to put this. It doesn't seem to have the same type of community that you see with vintage Windows DOS or even classic Macintosh. It's hard to get into, is what it boils down to. So part of what I'm going to do is basically learn more about it. So the Amiga 1000, it probably was one of the most advanced consumer computers in 1985 when it first came out. Yep. So hold on, to answer some chat questions. www2, I'm not going to emulate the video toaster. I don't think you can emulate the video toaster. So I'll pull up the article about Kickstart. So Kickstart is the boot ROM. If you don't have an Amiga boot disk wow, words are hard today. If you don't have an Amiga boot disk, it's the thing that shows the insert disk icon. It also has a set of graphical and programming libraries, which I believe are called Intuition. So Workbench is basically the equivalent of Finder or Explorer, and the Win32 API or Macintosh Toolbox, the equivalent is Intuition. And to go to build on what chat's saying, the Amiga 1000, which was the first Amiga, was unique. It didn't have Workbench it didn't have Kickstart in ROMs. Kickstart and Amiga OS was apparently incredibly buggy for its initial release. And this emulator package doesn't even have Workbench 1.0. It just has 1.1, which apparently was the first one that kind of worked. And as far as visual and graphical capability goes, you can see that Amiga, it is multitasking. It's cooperatively multitasking. But unlike classic Macintosh, I can open multiple applications. Granted, you have to be a bit patient for it. Yeah, so like, Notepad is looking for fonts. Are you there, fonts? Why is it looking for fonts? Does it want a fonts disk? Oh, well, it loaded. So, like, this is Amiga Notepad. So, in terms of functionality, from what I can tell, just looking at, from what I've read thus far, and like I said, I haven't programmed for Amiga, it's probably in terms of in terms of functionality, it's about equivalent to, I'd say, Windows 3.0 in terms of graphical interfaces and basically what you get out of the box. The blue the blue is actually interesting. This is something that the emulator doesn't really capture that well. Let me make this actually bigger. Let me bring up desktop view. Like, can I scale this? It says move window for 2.0. Like, this isn't UAE, which is the more standard emulator. Yeah, like, it looks like I should be able to scale this, but it doesn't seem to actually let me do it. Oh, I can make it full screen, though. Let me fix the scene, then, because that's obviously not right. We seem to be having some technical difficulty. Let's see here. Undo that. Here we go. Display capture. And now I can size that down, and I can put that on screen. Oh, hold on. You know, one of these days I'll be able to, like, get these things to just work. Okay. It's showing up in OBS. Oh, there it goes. It wasn't rendering properly. Hold on. There we go. It has to be running full screen. Apparently this is WinUAE because that's the binary that it showed up in OBS as. Yeah. The classic Say program. Okay. Is it even in this version of Workbench? So, I mean, there's not a lot of software here. I mean, granted, there's more here than what comes in OS2, because for those who've watched the OS2 streams, like, there are 3 applications. So we've looked at all of these. We have the command line interface, and this is something I want to take a closer look at because, like, I have no idea what you can do with Amiga's CLI. I believe AREXX is supported, at least on later versions of Workbench, but that's about all I know. Like, do we have DIR? We do have DIR. That's actually a bit interesting. Hold on. That was not the thing I wanted to click. How do I make this go? How do I make this? Let me see here. So I think one of these sends it backwards. Like, if I want to, yeah, that looks like it's moving it up and down layers. Yeah, okay. So that's interesting. So you click the, yeah, it actually sends it back to front instead of maximize or minimize like you'd expect from pretty much anything else. Also, I can only move it up or down. So, like, I could have a CLI window here at the bottom, and then I could have notepads. So if I want to have, like, my secret note to, I don't know, defeat Microsoft, I could have it there, and then I would be able to type down here and do whatever programming tasks. That's actually quite nice. Like, 85... What was there in terms of UI? There would have been... Windows 1.0 was out at that point, but you really can't use the command... You can't really use the MS-DOS prompt all that well in Windows 1.0. Macintosh was... the Macintosh 512 was out at this point, but there was no multitasking. Atari had not shipped a 16 or 32-bit home computer. Am I forgetting anyone? Like, I feel like the only thing that's even remotely close for this time period would actually be a Unix system, because Unix system was preemptively multitasked and had X. I guess there was Gem, but Gem was not even capable of multitasking. Yeah. Well, I mean, Ripper, you are talking about the very early years of UI development. If you want to see, like, how much things have changed, try loading up a Lisa system and just see how, like, because Lisa was one of the very first UIs. I mean, you can definitely see, like, here you got resizing. You can see how this is vector graphics and it's drawing in. Like, this would actually be quite hard to do on quite a few computers. Like, you could do it. I have to look up what the actual display mode is. Like, I don't know how many colors are supported. Yeah. So Atari shipped the ST before Amiga. And yes, Geos did come out in 85. So let's take a look at the preferences, because there isn't that much to see in this version of Workspace. Like, it's better than what you got with OS2 or DAWs of the era. Oh! We got a Guru Meditation! Remember that part where I said early versions of Workbench were kind of buggy? Yeah, I guess there's a maximum window limit. Can I exit? Quit? I guess I'm gonna have to look up the commands for that. I'll do that on a more newer version. Like, how do I get rid of you? Like, help, I can't quit. Amiga key was NCLI, thank you. Okay. There is a trash can. I wonder if this works like the Macintosh one, or if it's more like some of the other trash cans where it deletes the file but can immediately undelete it, and like when you reboot it. I've never actually seen it. In fact, I'm trying to think if I've ever seen an Amiga at VCF. I have to assume that there has been Amigas there, and I'm just drawing a mental blank. But I can't think of one off the top of my head. So I think that's all there is to see on this version of Workbench. So out of the box, Amiga's offering, like, the biggest problem with Amiga was the price tag. What Commodore charged for it, the 1000 shipped, it was $1,285 in 1985, which is about $3,200 today. That actually makes it more than a Mac Plus. I believe that's more than what an IBM PC of the era was, even with an EGA card. Like, it was pricey when it first came out. So I think we should definitely look at what the successor was. So now how do I get out of here? I think if I hold escape, yeah, it brings up the emulator menu, and then I can bail out of it. Oh, utilities say. Okay, hold on. I can do that. Well, hold on. There is no say on this one. Look, there's no say here. We'll do it. It probably wasn't in the original version. So. Okay. The thing is, I'm certain that someone probably has been at VCF with an Amiga, but I can't put one in, I can't picture it in my head. Like, I have to assume that someone's been there. I know there weren't any at the last one. Oh, you're right. You're right. The preview guide. I completely forgot about that. Oh, hold on. I just realized that the screen is not showing the screen. Wow, apparently the OBS scenes are not working properly today. You know, it's being troublesome. So yeah, I guess Say was not in the original version. So one of the things that, that's kind of what I think. Was there one at, oh, you're right, there was one at 2022. Yeah, no, I do remember that. They were in the room directly behind registration. I completely forgot there was Amigas there. They weren't in the Workbench screen, they were running demos. That's why I couldn't place it. So you didn't immediately realize that it was Amiga unless you were looking at the machine itself. Okay, that explains it. All right. So let's skip it. Let's look at the 500, because the 500 has the most common version of Workbench. Kickstart in this version was a ROM, and was not loaded from a floppy disk. So if you wanted to update Kickstart, you had to switch out the system ROMs. Okay, and then let me get the window capture going. Full screen. Okay. And then it gets cut off. Like, wow, it is just, technology does not like me today. Okay, there we go. So CLI2. It should also be playing sounds like floppy disk access sounds, but I don't know if those are working correctly. Okay, so you're hearing it, I'm not, but that's fine. Hey Hannah, my week's been a little bit up and down. Okay, so this is Workbench 1.3, and we're now on the Amiga 500, which was the most popular version. You can see that we have a whopping 4 megabytes of memory available. So one of the things I do know is that the color scheme for Workbench was chosen so it would show up well on color CRTs. It's the same reason why Windows of the era uses such a bright color scheme. Okay. So, all right. So let's see if Say is here in Workbench. Actually, let me make a note of the time. Because Amiga 500 Workbench 1.3. So Workbench 1.3. Yeah, look at it. Okay, look, now we actually have some applications. So 512. Chat, I can't do math. I really can't do math. Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a little bit up and down for me. Do we have a new trash can icon? Because chat's mentioning that there's oh yeah, there is a new trash can icon. You know, now I have to wonder if on the British version if it became wastebasket, but let's check out Say. So, when it loads up. Okay. Type your message and then return. Options are... Alright. This is a test of Amiga's TTS functionality. Let me turn off the background music so we can hear this nice and clearly.
This is a test of Amiga's TTS functionality.
Okay. Wow. It really makes you realize how far TTS has come in 40 almost 40 years at this point. So, okay. Mac and Speak has nothing on this. I wonder how it's going to handle.
Macintosh Mac and Keep has nothing on this.
Hey, that's not bad. That's actually not bad at all. I mean, that's actually a really impressive demo. From, if I am, chat, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Amiga had 4-channel PCM, 4 PCM channels on the audio chip, which is actually more than, you would have to go late 90s to find equivalent. Like, I think the Sound Blaster was nowhere near that league. And that's a lot like how trackers work. Yeah, so we can change some of it. So let me do /h test.
This is the female voice pattern. This is the male voice pattern.
I mean, sure. It's not going to fool a human. Okay. Let me just restart. So, and okay. Can I scroll in this window? Like, because I want to see the options. Like, if I... No, it doesn't look like I can scroll on that one. Alright, so... Like, there's no way to kill an application. You know, so there's no X icon. So if the application doesn't have an intuitive way to kill it, it's actually... like, /Q, /question mark.
I can't get out.
Yes. No. Right-click the top bar. Okay. I'm right-clicking the top bar. And nothing seems to be happening. Right-click and a toolbar shows at the top. I am right-clicking. Let's see here. Right-click the top bar. Activate the upper window and then click. I am very confused. I am right-clicking. You just hit enter with no text. Oh, you do just hit enter with no text. You know what? Let's let me grab the Amiga 500 manual. Let's see what the official manual has to say on this. Like, yeah, so it talks about I'm just thumbing for the manual on the other screen right now. Like moving. So one of the big things is, and this is a good example of it right here. Here in the Workbench folder, we have these are drawers. They're workbenches. I believe it's the equivalent of folders. I don't actually know if there's any difference, although you can... Oh, that's interesting. When you single click on it, the drawer actually pops out. And if I double click it, it opens. Yep. Okay. So there's nothing in expansion. Let's look at preferences. Oh, we can change the pointer. So one of the other things is that Amiga systems, by and large, I don't think they had a whole lot of support for hard drives. Like, the later ones did, but from what I can tell, at least they weren't common, and most Amiga software seems to just run off the floppy disk. So I guess I could draw my own custom cursor if I want. Like if we, let me cancel, because that's actually kind of neat because, oh, we can actually change the colors. So if we, let's see here, if we want to change the blue, oh, check that out. So now we can actually see the color functionality, and we have now gone neon pink. That isn't painful. Like, oh, that actually looks really nice, that dark navy blue. Yeah. We also can change the 60 or 80 columns text. Yeah. Okay, so the 600, I knew the 600 had IDE because the 600 has a PCM CIA slot. But from most of what I know about Amiga is secondhand learning through Reddit. Like, RMC, I think by and large has done some of the better Amiga content on YouTube. And the way RMC described it, and oh, okay, so the floppy disk is write protected, so we can't save preferences. Cancel. And all my preferences go away. Yes. Well, I think after this we'll look at one of the demos. Like we'll load up a demo and we'll just watch it through because Amiga demos are quite cool to look at. Because the system can do quite a bit. I think the upper limit of the AGA is you know, I don't want to say it because I'm not certain I'm correct. Let's see here. Let's look at some of these. So what's this clock pointer? Did that... Oh. Oh, it turned my pointer into a clock. Oh, I found the menu. I kind of want my mouse back. Okay, so, and yes, you can see how there's the Kickstart version, that's the ROM version, and the Workbench, which is what was loaded off the floppy disk. Okay. Alright, so to sum up chat to this point, chat is currently giving me a good education. So, the 500, which is the machine we're currently looking at, and was the most common Amiga from what I can tell, because it was quite a bit cheaper than the 1000. Hold on, I'll look at the price right now. Come on, Wikipedia. Yeah, so the introductory price for the Amiga 500, for the 500 was $700. The base, it had a floppy drive. I presume that came with the mouse, and you still had to provide your own monitor, either an RGB one, or you could use the they had the converter, the what's the name of that thing? It's not an RF breakout. On the 4000, it's the AGA to RCA thing. The words will come to me. Yeah. So, yeah, I gotta say, like, I have looked at Amiga, but I've never really played with it before. And before the stream, I was looking at quite a few of the demos, which really shows how much you could do with the system. So let's set map. Okay, so to sum up chat, the 500 uses the original chipset, and I'm assuming that's true with the 1000. The 600 uses ECS. 8100 uses AGA. The 4000 uses AGA. Yeah, that's not confusing. And incidentally, Amiga Unix will only run properly on an Amiga 3000 with a 68030, as I learned the hard way. It will start on a 4000 if it's got an older processor card, but its version of Workbench can't seem to boot off the SCSI drive when I tried it. Okay, so what is command? I really kind of... The floppy disk load noises really do add a lot. Okay. Doesn't seem to have done anything. I assume it did something, but I'm not seeing it. All right. So what did set map do? Like, I clicked that. No, system request. No key map. God. All right. So fast memory. Am I wrong in thinking that Amiga had chip RAM and it had fast RAM? Or am I misremembering that? Yeah, no, it did have two separate RAMs. Chip RAM was the stock 5. So what you could have anywhere between total megabyte. The total amount of memory that an Amiga 500 can handle is 138. 2 megabytes of chip RAM, 8 megabytes of 16-bit fast RAM, and 128 megabytes of 32-bit fast RAM. This sounds awfully familiar, like the Macintosh Plus memory problems. Okay. All right. Well, let's check that out. Let's actually open the command line. Oh, the prompt is different. When we were on... Actually, this is Amiga shell. Like, so if I go to CLI, we can type status. Loaded as command. Did that not... Is like... Well, there's this shell, and then there's this CLI. Are these two different things? Process 1... Oh, that is the output. Process 1 loaded as command status. So if I was to load another application, like, oh, I don't know, the preferences. So let's send that back. Bring this one... Oh, that's interesting. Look, I click on it and it doesn't come up to the top. It's amazing how much we take for granted in modern systems. Okay, so if I want to load another application, let's load calculator. I have run sysinfo on my 4000. Oh. I've discovered something. Why is this useful? I don't think I'm supposed to be able to move the entire workstation. Why is that? Yeah, okay. That apparently I'm easily distracted by the fact that I can just push Workbench right off. Okay. All right, let me see if double-clicking... yeah, no, double-clicking doesn't seem to pull it up to the front, because I am doing the double-click, and I have to click here, and then it comes up to the top. So, status. So if we check now, calculator doesn't show up on the list. Is this like some sort of desk application, then? Calculator 1.3... Like, if I load say, does it show up on the list? Although, our amount of available memory is going down fast. Okay. This is fascinating, and how it works. Like, it's... In some ways, I like that the windows don't get pulled to the top because it makes it easier to organize things, but it's also driving me mad because I'm used to something more interesting. Oh, so if I do something... So, if I was to load calculator from here... And actually, let me point something out. Is there a way I can, like, get a pager? Let me do DIR again. One thing I noticed, and I didn't say it out loud when we were looking at Amiga 1.1, is the files that are on the file system don't correspond to the icons you see in Workbench. That's something I've seen on the Lisa, but it's interesting how like if I do, can I do CDL? Oh, look at that. Yeah, I can actually. And we can see various handlers and system files. Okay. So if we look at libs, and let's see what else is here. Okay, so there are Unix-style pipes. So this is actually something that's kind of important to talk about. So Amiga does have actual shared libraries, which was not a standard feature in the era, I'd say, at the least. That's the dot library. So we have the icon dot library, the version dot library, floating point info, and more. Let's see here. Let's see what else we've got. So are .info files similar to like .application files, like, or PIF files? Okay. It's something that's a lot of stuff. Actually, hold on. Can I not pipe? Let me see here. The chat said that I could use Unix-style pipes. I have more, and I have ed. Okay. Do I have more? More file name or more pipe name. Click more with a file. So would that be something like more dir? File may contain binary. Yeah, that didn't quite work. Alright, I feel like I should look at the manual. Because let me see if I can find example syntax in the manual. Also, it's... Oh, there it goes. That was reading for a while. Okay, so Amiga DAWs and the command line. So to access the command line, commonly used commands. Okay, so disk label, viewing the files in directory is list, getting info about a file system. So info. Okay, so we can see, so info is the mounted disk. So we have DF0, that's our boot disk. And notice that the disk size is 880 kilobytes. That's because Amiga, while it still uses double density disks, they don't use the standard MFM formatting. I want to say it's GCR, but I don't actually know for sure. It's in some ways similar to how Apple used to format double density disks to 800 kilobytes. It also makes file exchange annoying. Like, to get the 4000 to even boot, I had to hook up a flux writer to a floppy disk to write the boot disk. It's one of the big pains. So all right, so let me see what else we can do here. So if I want to, so what's list do? List, oh, list shows me more information about files. Okay. So there's ed. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Like, one of the things I really want to do is I actually want to take a second round with AREXX and take a look at the compiler, but I really want to learn more about Amiga and whatnot, because there isn't a lot of Amiga content on YouTube. All right, so that's list. If I'm assuming version will just show me... Oh, wrong window. So get environment. I'm assuming that's like... gets environmental variables. Version... Yeah, that's Kickstart and Workbench. Alright, so if I want to do something like... How do I send something to more? Let's look at the syntax. So disk copies files. Yeah, copies between two files. You can format. Can I put... Can I put a blank disk in and, like, we can try that? Insert blank disk. Did it recognize the disk being inserted or not? I'm assuming I have to format it. Let me unseal. Hold on. Let's format drive. Hold on. Let's run. Oh. It wasn't. Was it info that I needed? Oh, it wants its Workbench disk back. Oh, come on. I have to hold escape, but it's a little bit slow. Okay, retry. Well, I do admittedly like to work from the command line, but yeah. You can, I wouldn't mind looking at the PowerPC versions, but the PowerPC versions of Amiga OS are not included in Amiga Forever, at least not out of the box. Okay, so there's mounted disk. So if we were to put a new disk in... this is a lot of windows. All right, let's see if we can clean up the clutter a little bit. Okay, so that closes. Let's click Utilities. Yeah, no format there. Let's look at System. Ah, here it is. Format. To initialize a disk, select its icon and... Oh, okay, so that's how you do it. So let's actually... You know what? Let's make a copy of the Workbench disk. Just to try it. So... Insert the empty disk. Okay. There's the empty disk. So now if we go up here... Ah, there we go. Initialize. Please replace volume in any... I feel like I really would want multiple floppy disks for the... floppy drives for this. This is going to be annoying, isn't it? All right, retry. Please insert volume empty. Wow, it's making me do disk swapping to format a disk. Okay. Oh. Yeah, hold on. I don't know if I can easily add... Like, this... From... The main reason I was interested in Amiga Forever is it does have licensed copies of the ROM, which I always find it very important to support projects like that. But it's definitely not made easy. Okay, so now I gotta put the other disc back in. How many disk swaps is this going to require? Oh, okay. I have to press and hold escape. Wait for it to change. Continue. Hey, there we go. Look, we're formatting. Yeah. I'm reminded of setting up a Macintosh Plus and copying system disks. Like, we'll make a disk copy of the Workbench disk. Let's do the fine Amiga tradition of copying floppies. Yeah, if I was to do more serious work, I'd probably just set up WinUAE and just load the Kickstart ROMs directly. But short of buying an Amiga 500, this is not a bad way to get the basic experience. And when I've got a little bit more free time, because let's be honest, I haven't been streaming consistently because my life has been a major dumpster fire as of late. It's getting better, dumpster fire was the wrong word to use there. I've been really busy doing things that will help make my life a lot better in the long term, but I've been dealing with a lot of pain getting there. And my YouTube channel's kind of been paying the price for that. But a lot of why I've been live streaming is to keep interest alive and to keep myself motivated and look for it. Alright. I really do appreciate the sounds. Like, this is a feature 86 box needs. Yeah, I legally bought Amiga Forever. I actually even bought the premium copy, so it came with a set of DVDs. It's sitting in my mailbox. I haven't had a chance to go pick it up. So, all right. Let's put the Workbench disk back in. Oh, that was not what I meant to do. You know, that's a little easier, though, because now I can do this thing called click. So, insert the Workbench disk. You know what I'm going to do? Let's try this RAM drive out. Okay. Well, the thing is that doing pain is a big part of how this channel works. All right, so let's go to Workbench. Utilities. Where's the disk copier? System. It's probably in system. Oh, yep, there it is. Disk copy. So, if I now understand this correctly, can I just drag this to, let me open the RAM drive. Yoink. Okay, so now that's on the RAM disk. Disk copy. To duplicate a disk, select its icon and choose copy from the icons menu. Okay. To duplicate, select its icon. Disk copy abandoned. Okay. So click. This is definitely not a consistent UI. Here we go. Duplicate. Yeah, duplicate. This will take 5 swaps. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. Put source disk into DF0. Okay. Let's see here. I'm trying to think of any actually expose a RAM drive out of the box. And yeah, I'm going to take this out full screen mode just to make my life a little easier. Let me see here. How can I check out that I really do appreciate having multitasking. Like, if you've ever done disk copy on Windows 3.1, it's not uncommon for it to lock up the whole system. Yeah, okay, I can delete this from the RAM drive. So oh, nope, that wasn't what I wanted to do. Disk copy abandoned. Warning, you can't get back what you discard. Okay to discard and forget it. I appreciate error messages like that. And now we get a whole bunch more memory. That's fine. Like, we can put up with the pain. Let's see here. Yeah. I do wonder how many people who pick up Amigas for vintage computing even load up into Workbench, because the fact of the matter is you don't need to load. You only need to do Workbench if you're loading. You need to do file stuff or, I guess, productivity apps. Like, from what I've seen, almost all games just basically boot right off the floppy, unless you're using something like HD Loader. Okay. I believe if external floppy was popular on basically every computer. Okay. Okay. Well, Ripper, I think, is Intuition loaded if Workbench isn't? Because Intuition is like the graphical UI stuff. So that would explain from... It seems very similar, like how a PC, like, you could have int 13 if you boot, you know, because it's in ROM, but int 21 isn't there for actually talking to files. Like, I haven't, trying to even get my 4000 to do anything useful has been an exercise in just pain and suffering. It doesn't help that NewTek, who were the company that made the video toaster, very much deep magic that machine. Like, it is an impressive hack job. Or I should say hack job. It's an impressive bit of structural engineering with the amount of expander and riser cards on that thing. What I would probably do is when I finally get the 4000 up and running properly, because at this point, I don't have an AGA monitor, but I do have the RCA breakout box and a RetroTink, which is good enough if I'm just going to stick around in Workbench. Like, I could use it as a 4000. I don't have an original Amiga keyboard or mouse. What I do have is I have an adapters, which will let me plug in a PS2 mouse and a keyboard. And I have successfully booted it into Workbench and Sysinfo. So I have the equipment to write the floppy disks. The problem is that I have no good way... Like, I don't want to put a GoTech in it simply because it is a video toaster. On the flip side, I think I might just have to concede that it's going to be very painful to use without that. I also need to dump the hard drive, which is going to be a massive project because that machine is very hard to disassemble. And on top of that, I have no way of putting I don't have a Zorro network card, and they are so expensive. Like, I'd probably spend a few $100s trying to get a Zorro. Yeah, no, actually, I'll say a few $100s because I need a Zorro 2 network card. There are new ones still made, but they're all made in Germany, which means I'd have to import it into the United States. So, again, you can imagine the level of pain. Yep. I wouldn't mind actually giving sitting down and doing an actual programming session on Amiga. So, we've got the copy of the Workbench disk. Okay. If we reboot the system, so can we actually boot off it, or is it going to ask for its kickstart disk? Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's booting off our copied floppy. So incidentally, this machine was released in the same year, or, not this machine, the 128 was still being sold, as is the 64, and it's kind of sad that the 64 basically outlived the Amiga. Okay. Well, what I want to do is I want to take a crack at getting the GCC cross compiler for AREXX built, because we took a pretty serious stab at it when I did the original AREXX stream, and I kind of want to go at that again because if I can get a good grip on porting GCC, there are a bunch of vintage platforms that could really use a less bad compiler. Like the AUX folks really would be happy if we could have something that isn't GCC 2.7 and doesn't require compiling on bare metal. So yeah, so we did successfully copy the Workbench disk. So cool. So the question now becomes, do we want to play a game or do we want to run a demo? Because let's be honest, if we're going to play with Amiga, can I please have my mouse back? Yes, there we go. We have a whole bunch of games that this came with. I'll read some out just to get an idea, like Aerial Races, Amiibo. Like, I don't know any of these. I didn't recognize any of the titles. That looks like a football game called Goal. A couple of platformers called Gotcha. Oh, Hyperion. Isn't this like a very famous game? I feel like I've heard of Hyperion for the platform. Let's see here. I'm just looking. This was the one I tried earlier, and I was actually really impressed by this one. This is from 1998. And this is running on a 500. So let me go full screen. And I do have a gamepad sitting right here. So this is a port of Pac-Man, but it's Pac-Man with a variant. And I just noticed that OBS lost the picture. Oh, there it is. I'm just waiting for the stream to catch up. Yep, there it goes. Okay. So, music on. I'm not hearing anything. I hit M. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Alright. Well, the problem is that coding with custom hardware is always really hard if you're not familiar with it. Okay. Oh, there we go. It's doing some... Oh, yep, there it goes. Oh. It's stuck in a demo mode. Hold on. Yeah, I'm not controlling it. Okay. Now, hold on. Oh, the emulator lost focus. That's why. All right, so let's just try this. Because remember, okay, so move stick to select world and push bounce to start. Let's just try Blocktown. And this game came out in 1988, so just put that in context. Because 1988, I'm trying to think what games on the PC even did isometric 3D. I mean, Commander Keen wasn't even all that old, and that was the first side scroll. No, Keen came out on the XT era, so. Well, I'm only using what's currently in the pack. I can always check out. We can always do an Amiga like gaming fest at some point. But I mean, it's hard to say that this isn't like arcade quality. I'm not sure that Pac-Man is better in an isometric 3D world, but oh, wait for them to come, and then we eat the ghosts. Come back here. Okay, there we go. Oh, run, run, run. Oh, I got cornered. I got cornered. Yeah, so for those who don't know, when Amiga started to struggle in the market, Commodore decided to turn it into a game console and essentially tried to compete with PlayStation and Nintendo. That was the Commodore CD-TV and the CD32, which were basically just standard Amigas that loaded software off a CD-ROM drive. And had no... I don't think they had any built-in storage, but I'm not certain. Alright. Oh. I'm still alive. I'm not particularly good at Pac-Man, if you can't tell. I've got a whole bunch of ghosts behind me. And I don't know if there's any power pellets left on the map. Oh god, there's another one. Oh! Can I get to the power pellet? Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna finish the level because I think this is the last things we need to eat. Yep. Next world. Yep. I think you could add a hard drive. It just wasn't super standard. So, we'll look at this next. We'll look at this next level, and then we'll try one of the demos. Okay. Actually, you know, I think right now. Oh nope, we've got different music. Like, I definitely feel like this is like an arcade-like experience. It's probably the... You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of the Neo Geo in terms of graphics and sound. Just... Like, I don't know what the actual technical capabilities compare up, but it's just my, like, first impression. Like, I don't know the maze, so I don't know where to go. Oh! Alright. Let's see what other games we have here. Let's leave full screen mode. Actually, you know, let's check out some of the demos, because the demos are going to give us a good idea of what the platform is actually capable of doing. Assuming I can close. Alright, like, let's look at the demos. Like... One of the ones I was looking at earlier, let's find a decent one. Like, let's find one of a good rating. State of the art. That one was flashing graphics, which is why I don't want to do that one. Ocean Machine. And these have a little bit of, like, blurb here. Okay, so that domain is for sale. If you click here and click the, yes, the RP9 link, it gives you information about it, such as the homepage, the demo, the system, and the ratings. Like, it is a nice launcher for someone who isn't used to dealing with emulation. So let's see what this demo is like. Because this will give us a pretty good idea of what the Amiga is capable of doing. Oh, is there a jump? Okay, you know, I do worry that this might use copyrighted music, but we'll deal with that. I've never tried to run Linux on Amiga. I've run Unix on it. I'm not actually sure. I assume that the Motorola 680XO port supported Amiga at some point. So you can definitely see the... I believe this is the 4096 color mode of the Amiga. And I haven't watched these demos before. So... I believe this is running on an emulated 4000. Well, you can... Yeah, Linux will need the MMU. I wonder if that's being dynamically rendered. I assume so. Okay, and I'm just going to note the timestamps. Oh. Okay, where are we? Yeah, so I'll say... Like, this distinctly reminds me of... Well, I'm just gonna let the demo play. Like... That is impressive, considering if this is a 4000, that's 1992 on the AGA. I can check the emulated config. Let's launch the demo a bit longer. See, the one thing I've always taken from looking at Amiga graphics and sound is they're not particularly high resolution. Very colorful, but not high resolution. A Blizzard I've heard that like Amiga acceleration cards are quite literally worth their weight in gold. I kind of want to load this demo up on the actual Amiga. Well, the big thing ripper though is Amiga 4000. Let's look at the hardware configuration, because that's actually quite relevant if we're going to talk about this. So if we look at the machine config, which I think there is a way to see it. I may have to shut down the VM to do so, though. Workbench 3.1 and the application. But you can easily see why the platform was such a big deal for doing early CGI. Okay. Alright. So let's close this demo. What was it? So what was this running on? If we open... if I hit edit. So Ocean Machine 2005. It's an Amiga 4000 with a 68040, running 3.1 and 4 megabytes fast RAM and 32 megabytes of Z free RAM, Zorro free RAM. So, oh yeah, hold on. You can actually see that because the Amiga screen is on the wrong view. Okay, there we go. So going back, so the 500 was also released with the 2000, which was an expandable Amiga. Like, they both had the Zorro bus, but it was slightly different. And then that was followed up by the 3000 and the 500 plus, and then the CD TV. So let's take a look at the 3000. Okay, not sure all that much is different here. That started up really fast. Okay. So we now see that Workbench looks different. So we can, yeah, because we're loading off a hard drive, and this one actually has more tools on it. Look, we have a bunch of, let's see here, Workbench 3.1. How much? 5 megabytes in use, and 2 are free. So we definitely have a bunch of utilities. So we got a basic clock utility, and you can definitely tell how much a difference this makes. So the 500 was a 7 megahertz 6800. The 3000, I'm going to have to check. Amiga 3000, was a 6030 at 16 or 25 megahertz. Okay. Oh, right, it's zoomed in. Hold on, let me fix the view. Sorry about that. So we can see that the look and feel is definitely a little bit more consistent. So you can turn things to a small icon. You can send things to the back, which is now what the right one does. So it's a little bit more consistent. Also considerably less laggy. We have things like snapshot, show files, like we can do show all. Oh, look, there's AREXX. If we wanted to do something with the AREXX scripting language. AREXX was also shipped by OS2, and it was on a whole lot of other things. It shows up in weird places. So, what is multi-view? Oh, this looks like a file, like, viewer. Yeah, look. So, this is a way to look at, like, I guess this is equivalent to, like, File Manager. Well, I mean, PowerPC, is a PowerPC Mac still a Mac? I know that for Amiga fans, the PowerPC machines are... I've heard a lot of very strong opinions, is the words I'm going to go with there. So let's take a look and see what else we have here. So we have calculator. 8 times... Hold on. 8 times 6. 8... Hold on. So I'm typing on the keyboard and it doesn't seem to work. So 8 times 6... It's okay, there we go. It's like, I don't know why the answer was wrong the first time. I mean, here's the alternative. There are the fastest Motorola powered Macintosh you can buy is an Amiga. I do find a lot of that becomes elitism, that if you don't have like a genuine Amiga thing, then like it's not a real Amiga. Even though for a lot of people, that's the only way you can even access the ecosystem because it's so expensive. So what's this laser? Well, I click it and nothing happens. Print files. Command redirection of the parallel port. Presumably that did something. And then we have Emacs. Oh, micro Emacs. This is Emacs. So no file name. So how do I... So I just did Control X, Control S, and I can't save. So if I go up here... Oh, here we go. So save file. No file name. Save as file. Ah, write protected. That is a smart default for an easy to access platform because you can't screw up the system disks. I mean, this is actually a pretty powerful editor. Well, I mean, Emacs is a pretty powerful editor. And I want to say, doesn't Linus Torvalds use micro Emacs or one of the derivatives of it? I don't remember. I feel like that's accurate, but chat can correct me. Okay, save it in RAM. Okay, save it in RAM. Okay. This file exists in the memory of all who see it. Save as file. Hey, that did save. So if we now look at the RAM disk. Oh, right, because there's no info file, it's not going to show up. So if I do show all files, hey, look, there it is, test.txt. And then it asks if I want to execute it. Interesting. Yeah, if I go into config, I can do that. Like I said, I'm really just doing the high level drive through of Amiga because learning. So here's the configuration. It's a 68030 with the FPU and the MMU. Custom chips. It's an ECS PAL system with the Denise chip. I think audio was the Paula. All the chips had various names. Like, let me look up which one was which. Here. Angus. It's not on this particular page. It's probably on one of the other ones. Amiga Angus. The name Angus is derived from the address generator unit since it houses all the address pointer registers and controls memory access. So it's basically the arbitrator for everything on the Zorro bus, from what it looks like. And it was a major part of the OCS and ECS chips. Okay. The thing, yeah, I mean, if you're from a Unix background, Vi was on everything. So what is prep card? Oh, that's probably for, like, PCMCIA flash memory. So that's what's in the tools directory. What else do we have here? If we go to utilities, tools, Workbench startup, system, we get shell. Here we have AREXX. So AREXX is the I have no idea how you use it. Let's see. Let's open a shell process. Status. What? Why is the input being all slightly wacky? Let's see here. Shell. That's interesting. I had to restart the system for the input to actually work. So let's do something with AREXX. Hello world. Like, let me find a programming example. And actually, let me write the timestamp down. So let's say it's 2:17 AREXX. Okay, so if we want to do something with AREXX, I guess we have to open Emacs for that. So let's send that to the back. Fix fonts, utilities, nope. Tools. So the demo is print hello world. Say hello world. And then I have to save it as a file. So save as file. RAM, and then do I have to give it an extension or something? Apparently not. So let me just call it, so hello world. And now we can open the shell. And then I hit R and then it, hold on. Like, I hit R and then it does this thing where I can't seem to do anything. Why is it doing that? Like, I opened Micro Emacs and I can't seem to type properly now. Oh, hold on. I hit Control once and now I can? So AREXX hello world. And there it is, hello world. Okay. So if I do Emacs hello world. Okay, cool. I can just load it right back in like that. So what else can we do here? So according to the demo, we can the demo I'm looking at. We can do something like enter a number between 5, 1, like 1 and 10, and then pull number, and then we can just do the number. So if I try AREXX hello world, yeah, so that now we can see that it took our variable. So that's actually really quite powerful. One of the biggest problems is earlier computers, if throughout the 80s, basically every machine came with BASIC. It was considered a must-have feature at the time. But BASIC was pretty limited, so Rex kind of tried to be the later BASIC, and it never really took off, but OS2 had it. It was available for PC. It was available on Amiga. I don't know if it was available on Atari. It's available on a bunch of other IBM platforms. So let's see what else we can do with Rex. So we can do something like, so MEMAX. So if number was less than 1 or number greater than 10, say invalid number, else, or I can just say, then else, and flow control is fun. So, okay, so that the syntax I definitely got wrong. So if, oh, it needs a den state. Oh, wow, that's like Ada, Pascal Ada. Oh, that was weird. Unexpected or missing end. Else, say... Oh, does it only allow for like a single branch to be used? Like if I do that... Okay, so it's not running the other branch. What am I doing? Hold on. I should look at chat, because chat's probably, like, yelling at me. Yeah, I could do that. I really need to get used to that. If number is less than 1 or number is greater than 10, then say invalid number. All right, let's get rid of the conditional here. Let's just see if that... Can I guess I need to open a new shell. Okay. Okay, so that's invalid number. So I guess it doesn't like the syntax with multiple branches on it. Let me look at the other ways you can do that. There is types, although apparently it's very similar to JavaScript. For loops, I guess you can't do conditional multiple conditions for the branch, or that doesn't make sense. You should be able to do like an R. Yeah, there's procedures, arrays. It's actually quite a useful programming language. Like, it looks very nice, and if you're familiar with Pascal, it seems like it would be a pretty easy adoption. It's very similar to Pascal syntax. Answering some chat questions. I assume that there's ports of Rex available for Macintosh, but I don't know that for a fact. Let's try endif. Well, no, we have that right. Hold on. Did I... Oh, you know what? I closed Micro Emacs, didn't I? Or no, I didn't. Where's Micro Emacs? Oh, it's down there? what I wouldn't give for being able to tab. So if number is 1, then say invalid number. Okay. So if I want to bring toolbar, so I click this, and that brings toolbench back. Oh, that is definitely not the most intuitive thing I've ever used. Like, I would get used to it in time, but that is definitely surprising and confusing behavior. Like, I could easily see how a new user would completely get lost dealing with this. That being said, having a good editor in the system out of the box is something I hugely appreciate and wish more systems would do more frequently. So is there anything else to see on this version of Workbench? All right, let's close Micro Emacs. And let's just see, let's see here, NCLI. Oh. NCLI. So Keyshow, what's under commodities? I'm guessing cross DAWs is something for like transferring stuff. Yeah, just like a bunch of random tools, really. Data types, monitors, printers, DAWs drivers. Parts of this may be for if you had like an expander card. No, it's definitely makes sense given the limitations of the era. It's just not intuitive. Now, to be fair, Commodore was basically... When did Multi-Finder come out? Let me put this in context, because I don't want to get the timestamp. So Multi-Finder for classic macOS was 1987. Windows 1.0 had cooperative multitasking from the get-go. And Windows 2.0 had the floating Windows design, which was 86, give or take. Let's see here. Cross DAWs, yeah. The thing about being a trailblazer is you sometimes end up in a swamp. Ripper, isn't that mean that you just have to build another castle in the swamp, and then when it sinks, you build a third one, and then the fourth one stayed up? So move PC 0 from storage to devs in order to use it. Well, I'd have to make a copy of the boot image, and there's a few other things I want to look at before we come back to that, because we have we have a bunch of snapshot. Definitely, it's both more advanced and less advanced than what it feels like compared to how everyone describes it. We can set sound. Oh, workbench pattern if we want. Oh yeah, we can completely like change how Workbench looks and feels. Like if we completely wanted to rescript Workbench. Like older versions of Windows let you change the colors. Workbench lets you completely change the icons. So palette. Let's see here. Can we make a nicer palette? Like, oh, okay, there we go. Now we have colors. So if we do something like, oh, I don't know, this. Oh, that's bright. Okay, so close all windows except drawers. So I probably have something running. Do I? Apparently not. Please close all windows except for drawers. But I don't think I have anything else running. Oh, no, there it is. Had to find it. So let's play with the colors a little more. Preferences, palette, color wheel. Oh, yeah, let's go with a nice purple. Oh, that's not blinding. That's not blinding at all. Yeah, let's go with like some neon green. That hurts. That hurts just a little bit. Let's add even more colors. Let's change the black. I don't know what we were going to change it to. Like, let's make it... Oh, we have a show sample button. Oh, that is really, really nicely usable. So let's take the blue channel out of this. And there it is. Amiga Workbench if it was a CGA card. Actually, let's get actual CGA colors. Like, let's make an Amiga fanboy die inside. Amiga Workbench. So if we are going to do CGA, then this first color needs to be black. You know, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. This is okay. So this isn't technically. This is Amiga if it had a CGA card. Okay, I'll change it. I will change it. All right. So what color should we make it then? We should probably make it proper IBM colors. So that would be purple, light blue, and dark blue. That's somehow worse. That is somehow worse. I am pretty sure that I'm going to get comments about this on the YouTube video. But I really do like the dark background. Okay, so let's hear screen mode. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's go NTSC low resolution. There we go. There we go. We have found the CGA. Oh yeah, you know, I do need to add... Oh look, it actually has a virtual scrolling function. Yeah, we can do Workbench 1 free colors. Sorry, I'm having a little bit too much fun with this. I think I need a little bit more screen resolution, though. This is a little hard to use. Let's try this high res. Oh, that's not an improvement. Oh, super high res. Okay, I will stop. I will stop. Incidentally, if you want to support the channel, the Patreon and Coffee links are in the description. Or if you want to send a super chat. If you really want to support the channel, consider becoming a Patreon. Well, you know... Yeah, no, that's a pretty apt way. All right, let's look at something else before this causes any more pain and suffering. All right, so we can look at the boot screen for the CD TV. I don't know if this... Oh, I did something. So the CD TV, like, I don't have any Amiga software on CD-ROM for it. Let me make sure that this... Like, I don't have any Amiga CDs on hand. Yeah, that's capturing. So, this was Amiga's attempt at making a game console, more or less. You would basically get the CD TV. It would plug into your TV. If I remember correctly, it had AGA graphics, and it basically loaded everything off the game disk. So, not a whole lot I can do here without any other Amiga discs. Like, notice that there's no mouse support. I have to use a controller to move things around. And these don't move in any order that seems logical. Yeah, like, I'm trying to figure out. So, yeah, there's not a lot we can do with this. Okay, so let's go pick another one. The 600 isn't going to be any different. 1200, 4000. There's the Amiga. We can just look at the load screen for a moment, and then we can look at the Walker prototype next. Oh, that's a nice animation. Let me go. Hold on. Let me go full screen. Hold on. Let's see that again in full screen. Well, we were looking at Workbench free.x. Yeah. Like, that is a really cool effect. It almost reminds me of, honestly, it reminds me of the Jaguar, which probably is blasphemy to say about a Commodore product, but that is, like, it reminds me of the load screen from the Jaguar CD. Okay. Alright. So, that was that splash screen. The chat's asking to look at a Workbench free one, so I'll just load it up directly. There is a generic Workbench thing, which I think has a whole bunch of other software installed. I haven't looked at it yet, so let's see what's on it. Okay. Oh, yeah. Wow, this is fancy. Copyright 1985 to 2017, Colanto Corporation and its licensors. So what version of Workbench is this? Yeah, so this is a FreeX ROM, which presumably they've upgraded. So this is in period correct. We'll come back to this. Let's look at more of the period correct ones. Yeah, so this is a 4000. Yeah, Workbench free one. Okay, so there's nothing actually different to see here. Except for the fact when you quit Workbench, it just quits. Okay. So let's actually look at the two generic Workbench images that they give you, because that actually looks like it has a bunch of software. So there's this Workbench 1.3 image, and let me write the timestamp down. Okay. So 13800, looking at Workbench 3.1 image. So that's a lot more memory. Let me do my math correctly. I think that's 3 megabytes, if I can do my math right. Oh, look, there's a lot more software on this one. That's a lot more software on it. We'll check ALab. We'll check we'll check that in a bit. Let's do a little bit more. Let's see what's on the 1.3, because I do think people will look at this more, because a lot of the classic Amiga stuff was for 1.3. So this is all stuff that we've already looked at. Oh, here's some stuff we haven't. So here's Emacs, just an older version, but it's here. Palette, like if we want, oh, that hurts. That actually hurts. So if we just take the green channel out, oh, yep, we can do that. That looks nice. And we can see what the system is basically doing with that. And we have a bunch of basic demos. All right, well, let's run some of them, like picture. This is what I was talking about, how BASIC was originally included with the Amiga. Oh, wow, that is... seizure warning. That is a seizure warning. What happened? Let's try music. Like, That is a seizure warning. I don't really want to run another one. Let me write that timestamp down because I'm going to... I may blur that just because I don't want to have a flashing image on the video like that. That is interesting. Chat, does anyone have any idea why that happened? So let's see what else we've got here. So, important FD basic files here. Doesn't look like there's anything else. Like, we have Amiga basic itself. I'm assuming... Is it doing something? Okay, like... Hold on. 10, print hello worlds. Ooh, that is bright and annoying. All right, so it's not the standard. It's not like the standard number syntax. I've heard that. I vaguely remember reading that Amiga Basic's a little bit interesting. Let's see here. Okay, give me your color. And look, we can actually see the performance of how things have been going on. I guess that's all that's probably included here. Is there anything on shared? Is there anything on RAM disk? It doesn't... Let's see here. What's FED? Oh, Amiga font editor. So I guess if you want to replace some of the fonts, like... If you want to replace... I guess this would be... I haven't got a clue how you use this, but if you want to make your own custom fonts, that's how you do it. Icon merge, key toy. Okay, so this shows you how the keys modify when you push the mappers. Interesting. Oh, shared is my Windows folder. Oh, that's right. You can, with WinUAE, you can mount a Windows folder as a hard drive in the emulator. It's probably when we probably start doing something with Amiga development, and I do plan to actually, like, finish some of my projects at some point. Like, I know how long it's been since we did the OS2 and PowerPC stuff, but this is just for me having a low-key and mostly relaxing day. So let's take a look at the Workbench 3.x image, and I'll write the timestamp down. And 3x images. So this is loading up. Okay. So, I mean, this is looks like the PowerPC version from what I could tell. Like, from what Amiga Workbench 3 is like the one we saw a little bit earlier. This looks much more modern. So we have the clock, animated icon, okay, well, yeah, that's an animated icon. What else we've got here? System, devs, yeah, so nothing major there. It's like there's a bunch of other software. Oh, here we go. Amiga Forever. Okay, so the web browser does work. About to set a Netscape cookie. Oh, and there it is. We have a Guru Meditation software failure. Or was that a Guru? No, that wasn't a Guru Meditation, but something similar. I'm curious. Does this work as a Gopher browser? Like if I type a... I think FloodGap is still... Yeah, FloodGap is still online. If if you want to start browsing the world with, you know what, let's look at Wikipedia. Oh, hold on. Let's actually go full meta, because there is a Wikipedia to Gopher thing. Let's do search of Veronia. Let's search Amiga on Gopher Space. Okay, that didn't get anything super accurate. Let's go back. Amiga Wikipedia? Apparently not. I just try searching for Wikipedia. Oh, here we go. Wikipedia. Well, if that's supposed to be a menu, that looks like that was just a selector. System root, Wikipedia. Pretty sure there is a way to do it, but I'd have to look up what the actual address is. But Gopher is actually not a bad way if you want to explore ancient web, the web on an ancient computer, and it works great over very restricted bandwidth links. Oh. Did the VM just crash? I think something crashed. Yeah, something crashed. Alright, can I forcibly restart this? I don't know. This feels a little buggy. All right. So let's take a look at what else we have. We have P-Paint, which looks like it's a standard paint program. I think this can... Let's see here. How much... Yeah, so yeah, basic paint program. That's what it boils down to. There's a couple of vintage Amiga software that has been licensed as open source. It might be interesting to try and build one of them from scratch. I'd have to check the licensing and figure out what is and is not available. Okay, so yeah, so here's Personal Paint. Let's see here. Personal Paint, 1992 to 2004. Must be something they bought or made back in the day. Okay, let's see what else we have. We have TurboText. Will it blend? I have no idea why I typed that, just because I need to type something. Amiga Amped. Oh yeah, this must be the Winamp clone that someone was talking about. If I hit play... AmigaForever.wave. I'm a little afraid. Oh. Assuming I could click on it, that is a...
This is Amiga speaking. Amiga Forever.
Fair enough. Okay. So that's... So... If you want to listen to various Amiga stuff, we've already looked at the shell. What is Dopus? Directory Opus. Congratulations on purchasing Amiga Forever from Cloanto, and welcome to this special version of Directory Opus 5.5. Oh wait a minute, isn't Opus like a? Well, it's a something. Let's clean this up. Oh, Directory Opus, it's a file manager of some sort, because I see FTP, crypt, copy. Yeah, if I wanted to go through and, like, copy files, I could do that. It's probably more powerful than what Workbench gives you, but, yeah. Okay. LHA to RAM, that one I know what that's for. A lot of Amiga software is compact in the LHA format, which was a competitor to Zip in the 90s, and it just stayed active in Amiga. Okay. Screen mode. How high does this go? Oh, good lord, you can actually make it for a 4K Amiga. I don't know if I'm ready for a 4K Amiga. How do I close this? Right. Let's see here. Cancel. Close without saving. So how do I get out of directory Opus? There we go. Quit. Oh, that is tiny. That is remarkably tiny. The challenge now is, can I get out of this? Like, I don't even see where the mouse is. Okay, no, I see the mouse. This is painful. Utilities. Tools. Can I change the video mode? Nope, that's Micro Emacs, but that's slightly bigger. You know what? I think I'm just gonna reboot it. I feel like that's something of a lost. Oh look, I took it out full screen mode. Oh, that's what happened. You can't see it. I forgot. I changed the other monitor to be 1080p and not be 4K. All right. Let me restart again. Workbench free.x. Okay. Cool. So yeah, we could make a so we have Exchange, A-Explorer, and Emulation Control. So if we do screen mode, we can make a 1080p go up a little bit right there. 1080p and use. Ah, 1080p Amiga. Okay. Well, now, all right. You know, chat, yes, I'm going to have to make the colors painful. So we have prep card, mounter, HD toolbox. I'm assuming like that's for formatting drives. Yeah, that's what that's for. Graphics dump. Utilities. Here we go. Preferences. Full look at all that palette. Okay, here we go. So if we want to change the color of the background, you know, I actually like that, aside from the fact that the wallpaper doesn't work. Okay. Palette. So let's the other part of the background. Like, if we were to do, oh, I don't know, change the active color, not to red. What would be a good, actually, you know, red I think would actually work, as long as I make it a bit brighter. You know, that's actually not half bad. So let me make the resolution a little bit lower just so we can all look at it. So we can gaze upon this creation and all be horrified. We'll go with NTSC high resolution. That was not the option I should have selected. Let's go a little higher resolution than that. Let's go with the Solaris resolution. Yeah. You know, that's decent, although the font's not great. It's amazing how much fun resolution stuff can be. There's got to be a nice resolution. I probably just need to reboot it again, but let's keep trying. No, I'm just going to reboot it because I can't seem to find a nice thing. Actually, let's look at some of the other ones. So we've got a copy of AREXX, and we have a copy of the Walker prototype. The Walker prototype. Let's look at AREXX first. Actually, no, it's going to download the Walker prototype because I double-clicked it. So, looking at the little description here says, experience the final Amiga prototype, commonly referred to as Walker. Beta release for registered developers. So this is so that's like where Guru Meditation would show up. Okay. ESCOM AG. So was this after Commodore went bust and someone bought them? Here. So about Kickstart 43.1, Workbench 40.43. So let's see what's on this. So Scala MM, that must be a memory manager. Okay. So looking at Workbench, so not a whole lot seems to have changed here. Like, you have double PAL, which I don't think was there on the other one, but I guess this is what was going to be the next Amiga. So if we want to do something like use, yeah, you can still see how the palette changes. So if I want to change that back to gray, it'll be just like that. Okay. Is there any other interesting tools and such on here? So like, what's in data store? Anything? Nope. TurboCalc? Nope. Nope. Here we go. Apps English. Or I guess there's just a whole lot of... Oh, no, there is actual apps on here. Okay. So, Mania is not there. This must have been copyright stuff. They must have found a machine and, like, dumped a hard drive. Which explains why there's all these empty drawers. So, Photogenics SE. Invalid registration. Okay, so I can't load that one because I don't have a registration code. Okay. This looks like the show all files. Okay, I can do that. Show all files. Window show all files. So we're going to look at all files, and then we look at Workbench. Is there any additional files here? Like, I'm not seeing anything we haven't already looked at. System. Yeah, this all looks about the same. TurboCalc, yeah, it's not there. Wordsworth. You know, for a prototype, this is a pretty boring one. Like, I'm not seeing anything unique to this. Aside from the start splash screen. Like, if I look at, yeah, like, we are showing all files. Yeah, all files, and there's no files in these directories. So it really just appears to be a prototype copy of Workbench, which has no user. Well, let's see here. Is there anything here in the German apps? Just a copy of Personal Paint, which we've already looked at. how do I get out of here? There we go. Well, if it's a per Windows setting, okay, so all files. So that has like the audio. I mean, this just looks like a bunch of deleted cabinets to me. Like if we open Data Store, all files. Yeah, it's not there. Okay. Well, that was interesting. Sort of. We should take a look at AREXX, which is essentially the open source replacement for it, but I kind of want to look at some of the other demos and games, and there's also like a whole bunch of gallery stuff. Like, let's look at, oh, you know what? There's a copy of Arkanoid on here. Let's take a look. Just because I know what the arcade and the PC versions look like, so I want to see what the Amiga version looks like. Okay, so it's booting up. Definitely not the fastest thing to boot up. Okay. You know, the way I remember Battle Chess was when I was a kid, we used to go on family vacations. And they used to have those hotel systems where you could charge game time to the room. And that's where I remember playing Amiga Battle Chess. It must have, you know, looking at it in hindsight, it must have been a CD TV or maybe not a CD32, but it must have been like some sort of hotel. This is not, like, I'm pushing things on the controller. I guess it's loading? Maybe. Yeah, I guess it's loading. Oh, I had to click. All right, Arkanoid. Is this a cracked copy that they were selling? Cracked, compact, and adopt. So this was a big thing with the Amiga scene, is the credits that would be on the copyright. I'm surprised that they didn't ship a licensed copy of it. How do I start? So space pauses. If I hit like 1, 2... Nothing I do on the controller seems to do anything. Yeah, I can't... I'm hitting a bunch of keys. It doesn't see... Oh. I'm trying... Yeah, nothing... I think I started... Yeah, because that's how the arcade game starts. You escape the Voss, and then you get stuck in intergalactic puzzles. Please select start round. Like, do... Okay, I can't figure out how to start the game. Okay, so I have completely failed to start this game. Let's see what else we've got here. Kickoff, Logic, Starbase 13, Sword. Some of these look interesting, and Virtual Karting 2. You know what? That sounds interesting. Oh, there we go. We have music. I only have the games that this came with. All right, select cart. Select track. Let's do the beginner. All right. Like, this is actually quite impressive. It really does remind me of the arcade machines of the early 90s. Okay. What are the controls? Okay, so that's left, right. Okay, so I have to press up to accelerate. Okay, you know, it probably wants keyboard controls. But let's see how it looks. The controls are not bad. They're not amazing, but I've definitely played worse. I don't do a whole lot with racing games, so I don't... You know what, let me switch to using the keyboard, because using a game controller seems to be hard. Oh. Possible music? Oh, in the bushes. Come on, come on, come on. Definitely not as fluid as, say, I don't know, Mario Kart, but... Like, if you could... Okay, so you know what? Tapping works a lot better than holding. Yeah. Wow, that is tricky. I don't think we're going to finish. I think we're going to time over. Okay. What we've learned here is I'm not good at driving a virtual car. Let's see here. I do want to look at a few of the other ones. Let's see here. What were some of the other ones that folks want? Like, I don't have Star Commander 2, but it sounds like a game I should pick up. Ooh, Obsession Pinball. I like pinball games. So let's see what this is like. I recently picked up a sand canvas. Okay. And look, this is another game, a train game. The hack screen. Okay. Okay, start the game. Okay. Okay. Look at all the pirate boards. Remember when I remember these. God, this was a different era. You'll be asked to enter the word under the letter of the given word of your manual. But I don't have the manual. Let's just try W. Yeah, I had a 1 in 26 chance. Or, oh, you know what? They probably patch it. It'll take any answer. I don't remember. There were a fair number of games that had that manual copy protection. Okay, well, it says it's loading menu. Let's try Aquatic Adventure. God, now I have this odd and powerful urge to get NetHack running on an Amiga. I actually do believe there is an official port, but compiling it probably would be painful. Very painful. This reminds me of Epic Pinball, and just in terms of looks and presentation. Okay, so what are the controls? So that launches the ball. Okay, shift is the paddles. So how do we launch? Space looks like it nudges the table. L makes that tiny. That mutes the audio. There we go. Okay, so I hold down the down arrow. Yeah, this really reminds me of Epic Pinball. It almost, oh, I just turned sticky keys on. I just turned sticky keys on. Hold on, I gotta disable that. Sticky keys. Disable. Oh. Yeah, it's hard to play on stream. Let's see here. Like, there's not a lot of animations on the bumpers, but look how smooth that's moving. Although it does feel it feels slightly laggy. Let's try one of the other tables. Like, I want one of a really good techno beat. Like, I've heard that, like, looking into Amiga copy protection would probably be a fascinating video that could make me completely lose my mind. Okay. So let's see what the other tables are. X-Tile Zone. What is this? Like a knockoff copy of XCOM. Oh, there was XCOM available for Amiga, like the original Enemy Unknown? Like, trying to beat XCOM would probably cause me pain and suffering, but okay. Wait for it to load. Yeah, I can work with this music. Yeah, Exile Zone. You know what? That makes perfect sense. Okay, I'm admittedly... The other problem is that I'm on the way the screen is set up, it's a little hard for me to play. Alright, let's look at something else. Let's do one of the other demos. Like... Hold on, let me write the timestamp down. Let's say, like... 20... Let's see what we've got here else for demos. We've got... Nexus 7, the Castle, 64. You know what? Let's try the Castle. Let's see here. Space Pixel, I intend to release a video. The problem is that life has very much been getting away from me. Like, I haven't been live streaming since VCF. I've only done the one NetHack stream. This is the first tech stream I've done since April. And it's a topic that I picked a pretty, for me, a low-key topic, just so I wouldn't have to go crazy doing a lot of stream prep. So... So let's see here. I mean, when you really see it in the demo scene, you really can see how powerful the Amiga graphics cards, the Amiga graphics capability was. Like, this is arcade quality and sound for a fraction of an arcade machine. But the problem that Commodore had is that Amiga was extremely expensive. I mean... That is impressive to watch. I definitely want to get these running on real hardware. I don't have the... Like, maybe someday I'll even code my own demos. At least on the Unix machines, because a lot of Unix machines can do some really cool 3D stuff that you have no demo code for. I am definitely enjoying this beat. I feel like the only thing that would be really... that would top this would be like... I would say as far as audio goes, something with like a Roland sound canvas or an MT32. And here's the thing that is that, from what I can tell, Workbench really didn't have particularly good text handling. It had no equivalent of, from what I've seen so far, I haven't seen much in terms of Adobe TrueType fonts, or PostScript fonts, although I did see the PostScript icon in one of the Workbench stuff. I don't know if it ever supported TrueType fonts. And I don't know, it's like, this is one of those things that's very hard to judge because we no longer live in the era of dial-up. So the one thing I know about Amiga is when I get bored, I occasionally queue up Amiga tracker music, and some of it is just really awesome. So there we go. The trainer rip of Obsession Cracked music. Okay, the MVG background. Like, if I saw this as a kid, like, the first game console I had that had 3D anything was the PlayStation 1, and the first games I had were Crash Bandicoot and Final Fantasy VII. The problem is that by the time Amiga became cheap, it was becoming more and more obsolete. Okay, so apparently if I... Alright. Let's see here. Let's see what else we've got here. There's quite a few other ones here. Like, let's look at one of the other 5-star ones, and then we'll take a look at AREXX, and then I think we'll wrap it up. There's no, I don't think this is going, well, actually, no, before we wrap it up, I want to take a closer look at some of the files. So, let's look at the one that's called Nexus 7. This is period correct. This is from 94. Okay. Well, the thing is that having good font capability throughout the entire system was a very big point of both Apple and Windows, because fonts are hard and data exchange is even harder. Well, the problem is that because you didn't pay a dime for the games, vendors didn't want to support Amiga. Well, I presume that there... I would have to look at a programming book to understand exactly what Amiga gave you. But if there was no programming library for the AGA, the EGS, or the original Amiga graphics, that you were directly poking registers, that was like a disaster. It's kind of a creepy face. Okay. Look, it's the AT&T Death Star logo. God, there's like 3 people in the chat who probably know what I'm talking about. Okay. I mean, and the other major problem you have with Amiga is they never had a super sharp graphics mode. Like, was the hardware even capable of doing something like Photoshop on a Mac? Like, is the hardware capable of matching Photoshop on a Mac 2 with a new bus graphics card? Because that could get very high resolution color graphics for DPI. And for desktop publishing, as far as I know, Amiga had no foot there. Sorry, no market share. Really, it was just because NewTek built the video toaster, and there was other early 3D stuff. Amiga really got its foot in the door with video production. All right. So let's look at the last image. So let's finish that demo. So let's take a look at the AREXX image. So AREXX is an attempt to essentially make a free and open source replace. Actually, I'm not sure if it's open source. Let me check Wikipedia. AREXX Research Operating System. It's under the AREXX public license, which is similar to the Mozilla Mozilla Public License 1.1, but is not GPL compatible. It's also, according to Debian's free software guidelines, it is likely has problems. So it's a loose copyleft with issues from the very brief reading I just took. OS dev. Okay. So let me just catch up with chat. Well, that was the big problem with a lot of things, is that it would poke the graphics, the hardware directly. One of the big design goals of DirectX was to end that. So this is the idea of making a replacement for Workbench. It's also possible to run this on Motorola 680 XO, PowerPC, x86. I want to say there's one or two other ports. Let's look at the show config. So, AREXX version 41.3 running on an emulated Motorola 680 and yeah, that's about it. 64 megabytes of fast RAM and 2 megabytes of chip RAM. Okay, so commodity. So like blanker, probably a screensaver, function key. I have no idea what any of this does. It does have a copy of AREXX. And you can see all the different libraries. Like we have bzip2. Because AREXX is still actively developed. You could probably daily drive it. Like daily drive. It's probably not even all that different than daily driving a Haiku if you were determined. The mouse sensitivity is very high. So storage, AREXX, tools. Let's see what we have in utilities. Doesn't look like I can do a lot unless I like make a new system image. Like we have disk manager, GUI. Here we go. About. So when was this built? So nightly Amiga Motorola 680 build from November 28th, 2022. So this is actually pretty recent. Like it's only about a year. It's less than a year old, this build. CLI, so like if we do status, and you can see that there are distinct differences, because look, the status is now showing all the different processes running in the system, which it wasn't doing before. Let me make that bigger. Like, let me... Yeah, so you have all the info files, Wanderer. I've heard that AREXX is pretty like, as long as you're not actually poking the hardware, you can basically port Workbench software right to it, but I don't know if that's actually true or not. I haven't used FreeBSD really enough to have a strong opinion on it, so yeah. Okay. Honestly, I probably should I really should get the Amiga development tools out. That may be the next stream, is to get the Amiga development tools out and program something on Amiga. I'd have to track them down, though. But let's actually see what else Amiga Forever comes with, because it installs a lot of files into the file system. Like, it really dumped a whole lot of files into the public directory. So let's take a brief look. Let's get... So, I forgot where it installed to. Give me a moment. I just gotta remember where it went. Public files. Here we go. So what it dumped in the file system is shared. Like here's all the install disks for various versions of Amiga. Like here's Amiga Workbench 1.0, 1, 2, 3. The installation disks for the later one and the AREXX image. Actually, hold on. And there is the Amiga 4000 PPC image here. I'm assuming you have to buy Amiga OS 4.0 for it, but just want to check. Oh, well, that did something. I guess it's installing. Oh, no, I have to get a bootable title for it. Okay, yeah. That's a stream for a different day. Because I have no way to start that. All right. Let's see. Let me close that. If I can. Let's see here. Close. Stop. So we have the shared directory. We have like AREXX. Oh yeah, so these are all the files if you want to like modify the base system for copying files across and over. What else do we have in terms of like actual installed software? Looks like just a bunch of Amiga for hard files, so you don't have to install it yourself. A copy of WinUAE, WinFellow, and a whole bunch of titles and systems. Yeah. So these are all the various things. And then there's the videos that come with the main program. So I think that basically covers everything in Amiga Forever. All right, so let me just catch up with chat. I definitely want to look a little bit more into Amiga, but I do feel a lot more confident with using the system now. Like now, at least I understand how the basics of using Workbench and Intuition. Let me see here. What other games are here? We have like Amiibo, Deluxe Pac-Man. Chad, if you see something interesting, let me know. Just based off what is here. Hyperion. Like, actually, let's sort by rating. Like, what is the highest rating titles here? Scorched Tanks. Oh, this one I know. Flight of the Amazon King. There was a PC version of that one. I know that one. Kickoff 2. Yeah, a fair good. Like, it's a decent selection of titles, although it seems a little haphazard. Okay. Well, okay, let me put it like this. I could sit with Workbench and not get horribly confused, Ripper, which is an improvement over the previous status quo. Like, once I sit down, load the development tools, and spend more time with it, I'll definitely be... You know, let's load up Flight of the Amazon Queen, because that is a talkie game, if I remember correctly. It's probably a pretty good... Oh, look, it's all... Oh, no, it is a patched one. And it's a cracked copy of the game. The end status and solutions are on disc 1. Okay. So there's the copyright message. Oh, hold on. This is zoomed in. Hold on. Fixed. Let's see here. Yeah, I remember. I don't remember where I first heard of this game, but I have heard of it before. very much is similar to the LucasArts Scum games. Okay. It was probably at the very end. This is probably one of the last commercial games released for Amiga, if this was 95. Okay. I'm assuming the plane's going to crash at some point. Because it wouldn't be an adventure game if the plane didn't crash at the beginning of the story. Also, that looks like... I think that's a DC-3. Or it's something very close to a DC-3. Wait here, Sparky. I'll go up and get Miss Russell. Okay, so it is not a talkie game. Am I supposed to do something? No, I guess this is a cutscene. Anderson, what are you doing here? And where is Miss Russell? Oh, it's going too fast for me to read. I'll let chat read it for a bit. It could be a Ford tri-motor, assuming it's based on an actual airplane. But, I mean, here's kind of where you get to the downside of Amiga. This came out in 1995, and you are looking at VGA graphics, realistically speaking. Which really shows that the dominance that Amiga had in graphics capability didn't last all that long, because VGA graphics first started coming out 91, 92. So by the time Amiga was price competitive, it was already falling behind, combined with the other compatibility issues that chat brought that up. Scum, that's script creation utility for Maniac Mansion. It's what LucasArts used to make all their old 90s adventure games. Okay. So apparently a whole lot of my chat now understands, knows a lot about airplanes, and also knows that it's flickering like that. I'm guessing that's an emulation problem. All right. So yeah, let's look at the posters. The green mark can. So how do we get out of here? Can we open this chest? Okay, it's locked. And like all major adventure games, you just click at everything until you find, so here's a pick up sheets. I guess we need to pick up the other sheet. Okay, I can see a room below, so can we go down? Okay, so hold on, okay, so I figured out how to tie the sheets together by clicking on everything. So we use the sheet rope. Use sheet rope on the laundry chute. Oh, we probably have to use it on the radiator. Okay, we have now escaped from the room, or in the process of. Okay. I did actually work on getting my pilot's license at one point. I soloed, but I never actually did check ride. Okay. So I'm assuming we can like walk to the door and like get out. Like we can play until I'm assuming the plane crashes at some point. Okay, so one of Anderson's goons. I have no idea what I'm actually doing. This sort of gets worse. It involves changing clothes. Okay. I think that's good enough for here. Do we want to end it, chat? Do we want to end it with one more demo and then perhaps call it? Because I don't think there's a whole lot more I can cover past this point based on what's in the Amiga Forever package. Like, I'll load the fake electric show. That sounds interesting. Okay.
With a fake electronic light show.
That is actually really impressive watching that. I do. It's always cool watching a teardown of these. Oh god, the idea of King's Quest with a single. No, Alex, if you want pain, you know what pain would be? Speed. Alright, I'll, hold on, let me stop this so I can talk. You know what pain would be? It would be, or not pain, it would be speed running a game where you have to swap floppies on real hardware. Okay. I don't know if that was a quote from Ghostbusters or not. Yeah, I think that's it. So, chat, if you've got any questions, now's the time. Do I have Space Quest 3? No, I don't think so. There's really not a surprising lack of games on this thing. Like, as I said, this is kind of it's presumably whatever they could get the rights to, but it's a very weird collection. Fate of Atlantis. I actually played Fate of Atlantis all the way through as a kid. I probably could remember the solutions to a lot of the puzzles. Let's see here. Powerball. Hyperion's the only one I know that has like really good music because I remember just hearing it in trackers. But yeah. Speed Swap, Beneath a Steel Sky. That is a great game. I'm actually surprised it's not here because it was released as freeware, so you'd think it would be. All right, I'm just seeing if there's anything else to look at. Oh, this one's slightly different. Hold on. Amiga 500 Plus, the thumbnail shows that Workbench was in the color scheme was inverted. $15 floppies. It's not a long game. Like, what? Did you change the disc every 3 scenes? So, okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to check this because I was looking at when I was clicking for the images, oh, this may be Workbench 2.0, I guess. Amiga Release 2. Yeah, Workbench 2. Okay, that's why this one looks a little different. I don't think there's anything else to actually see here, though. Compared to what we've already looked at. Can really hear it loading. Alright, I think on that note, we are at the 2-hour, 34-minute mark. That's pretty much all I can have to show here. Like, what's my final thought on Amiga Forever? If you want to have licensed Workbench ROMs and discs, it's great. The games it comes with are a little bit question mark, and I'm surprised they shipped cracked versions, although they may have had no choice. I don't know how good the state of Amiga copy protection emulation is. We'll probably poke Amiga at some point in the future. There's probably GNU tools. Like I said, I don't have a copy of them. Well, it's Amiga emulation. This was mostly me just screwing around with Workbench, trying a bunch of demos. Next time we come to Amiga, I'm going to have a more set plan on what to do. But, yeah. All right. On that note, if you've enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. If you really enjoy this content, consider supporting the channel by subscribing or supporting me on Patreon and Coffee. Until next time, this is your host, NCommander, signing out and wishing you all a pleasant day.